She was 7 years old, small hands, big eyes, the kind of child who notices everything quietly, the way children do when they have grown up watching adults pretend. It was a Tuesday evening in November, the kind of cold that gets into a house and stays. She had come to find me, the way she always did, padding down the hallway in her socks, looking for me before dinner. She stood in the doorway of my room, the small room, the back room, the one where the heater had not worked properly in 3 months and I had stopped mentioning it. She looked at the thin blanket on my bed. She looked at the condensation on the window. She looked at me. And then she tilted her head, the way she always did when something did not make sense to her, and she asked, very quietly, "Grandma, why do you sleep in here?" I smiled at her. I always smiled. But something inside me, something I had been pressing down with both hands for 2 years, shifted. That night, for the first time, I opened my suitcase. She asked one innocent question. It unlocked 2 years of silence. My name is Margaret. I am 68 years old. And I want you to understand something before I tell you this story. I did not arrive at my son's house as a burden. I arrived as a mother. When my husband passed, 3 years ago now, my son Daniel called me within the week. "Mama, come stay with us," he said. "We have the room. Lily asks about you every day. We need you here." I had a home of my own, a small apartment across the city, nothing grand, but mine. My name on the deed, my plants on the windowsill, my husband's chair by the window. But Daniel was my son. So I came. I came with love. I came with intention. I came carrying everything a mother carries when her child calls. What I did not know, what I had no way of knowing, was that Daniel had not told his wife, not properly, not with her agreement. She came with love. They had not agreed to receive it. From the very first week, I felt it. Not cruelty, I want to be fair. Priya was not cruel. She was simply absent from every room I entered, from every conversation I tried to begin. The comments came slowly. "We're redecorating the guest room," she said once, while I was standing inside it, folding my clothes. So I moved myself to the back room, quietly, the way I had learned to do everything in that house, quietly. I cooked, I cleaned, I collected Lily from school every afternoon and walked her home and listened to everything she wanted to tell me about her day. I sat in the back room every evening and I did not complain. 2 years, I did not complain once. Because he was my son, and I believed if I was patient enough, quiet enough, small enough, things would change. The week before Lily found me in the cold room, something happened. I was coming down the hallway. Priya was in the kitchen, on the phone. She did not hear me. She was talking to her sister, and she said, I will never forget, not one word of it. "She's like furniture, Yar. Old furniture that nobody wants to throw out, but nobody knows where to put. Furniture." I went to my room, the cold room. I sat on the edge of the bed, and I stayed there for a very long time. Furniture does not feel cold. Furniture does not remember carrying a child for 9 months. Furniture does not lie awake wondering where it went wrong. I was not furniture. I had simply forgotten to remind them of that. She's like furniture. 2 years of silence. 1 week later, her bags were packed. Then Lily came, with her small hands and her big eyes and her one impossible question. And I realized something, sitting in that cold room looking at my granddaughter's face. She was watching me. She was learning from me. Every single day, she was learning what a woman does when she is treated like furniture. And I could not, I would not let her lesson be silence. I kissed Lily's forehead. I tucked her in. I turned off her light. And then I walked back to my cold room, and I did something I had not done in 2 years. I called my lawyer. 2 years of silence, one phone call. Everything shifted. I want to be clear about something. I did not call out of anger. I had been angry for a long time, and I had swallowed it quietly, the way I swallowed everything in that house. I called because I finally remembered something. My husband, before he died, had sat with me one evening and said, "Margaret, whatever happens after I'm gone, don't disappear. Promise me." I had promised him, and then I had spent 2 years doing exactly what he asked me not to do, disappearing, room by room. My lawyer's name is Patricia. I had known her for 15 years. She answered on the second ring. I told her everything, all of it, the cold room, the furniture comment, the 2 years. She listened without interrupting. Then she asked me one question. "Margaret, do you still own the apartment?" "Yes," I said. "Then," she said, "you are not homeless. You are just temporarily misplaced. Come to my office Thursday morning." For the first time in 2 years, I laughed. A small one, but real. I went to Patricia's office on Thursday. I brought everything: the deed to my apartment, my identification, a list of every document I had ever signed in that house. I had nothing to prove and everything to reclaim. Patricia confirmed what I already knew. My apartment had been maintained. The tenants had just given notice. It was empty and waiting. She also told me something I had not known. Under the arrangements my husband had left, arrangements I had never fully read, grief making the paperwork feel impossible, I had a modest income from a small investment fund. Enough. More than enough. I had been living in a cold room asking for nothing, when I had never needed to ask for anything at all. She had been asking for nothing. She had never needed to ask. Daniel and Priya were both at work. Lily was at school. The house was quiet. I made myself a cup of tea, in my mug, the one I had brought from my own kitchen, and I sat at the table. I thought about 2 years of dinners in this kitchen, 2 years of wiping down this counter, 2 years of Lily's drawings on the walls of the cold room, drawings I had put there because I had wanted, so badly, to make it feel like home. I finished my tea, I walked to the back room, and I packed my suitcase. Not everything. I had lived small, the way you do when you know you are not fully welcome. But everything that mattered. The mug, Lily's drawings, rolled carefully and placed on top, my husband's photograph from the nightstand. I left a letter for Daniel on the kitchen table. I did not explain. I did not argue. I did not list the 2 years, or the cold room, or the word furniture. I simply wrote, "I love you, but I love myself too." 6 words, 2 years in the making. Before I left, I did one more thing. I went to Lily's room. I placed her drawings, all of them, carefully rolled, on her pillow, so that when she came home, she would find them, and she would know that I had taken them with me for a reason, and I had left them for a reason too. 3 weeks later, in my warm apartment, with tea on the table, and my husband's chair was back by the window where it belonged. The drama everyone expected never came. What came instead was harder. Daniel called me 17 times that evening. I watched the phone light up from across my apartment. My warm apartment, my own apartment, where the heater worked and the windows were clear, and my husband's chair was back by the window where it belonged. I answered on the 18th call. He was crying, not the polite kind of crying that men do when they want you to feel sorry for them, the real kind, the kind that comes from the stomach. "Mama, where are you? What happened? Priya said you just left." "I left a letter," I said. I know, but, Mama, I don't understand. Daniel, I said quietly. I lived in your house for 2 years, in the cold room at the back. The heater broke in September, and I did not mention it because I did not want to be a problem. Silence. I want you to think about that, I said. I'll be here when you're ready to talk. I hung up, and I made myself dinner, in my own kitchen, for the first time in 2 years. It took Daniel 3 weeks. I did not call him, I did not push. I had spent 2 years being small and available, and easy to overlook. I was done making myself available on other people's timelines. Lily called me every evening without fail, her little voice on the phone every night at 7 o'clock. Are you warm, Grandma? Very warm, my love. Are you eating? Better than I have in years. She never asked why I had left. She was 7 years old, and she already understood. Children always do.
He came on a Sunday afternoon, alone. He stood at my door with his hands in his pockets, and he looked small, the way sons look when they have finally understood something they should have seen long ago. I made tea. We sat at my table, the table from my old kitchen, that I had put in storage for 2 years because there was no room for it in Daniel's house. He looked around the apartment, at my plants on the windowsill, at his father's chair. It looks like you, he said. Yes, I said. It does. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, She told me you preferred the back room, that you liked the quiet. I looked at my son. Daniel, the heater broke in September. I slept in my coat for 6 weeks. He put his face in his hands, and he wept. Not because he was bad, but because he had chosen not to look. And he had finally decided to look. We talked for 2 hours. I told him everything, calmly, without anger. The furniture comment, the cold, the 2 years of making myself small. He listened, all of it. When I finished, he said, What do I do now, Mama? And I said, That is not my question to answer. That is yours. Priya has not called. Perhaps she will, perhaps she won't. But I am no longer waiting for anyone's permission to take up space. Ask me sometimes, do you regret waiting 2 years? I used to think, yes. Now I think, I waited until I was ready. And I was ready the moment a 7-year-old asked me one question. The right question. At the right time. From the right person. She didn't leave because she was angry. She left because she was finally ready. Lily started coming to see me on Saturdays. Daniel would drop her off at 10 and collect her at 4. 6 hours, every Saturday. She walked into my apartment the first time and looked around with wide eyes. She ran her hand along the windowsill. She looked at her drawings, framed now, on the wall of my sitting room. She turned to me. You kept them, she said. I will always keep them, I told her. She sat at my kitchen table and ate the eggs I made the way she liked them, with the edges crispy. And then she looked at me very seriously and said, Grandma, are you happy here? I looked at my child, at this small, watchful, serious girl who had asked the question that changed everything. I told her, for the first time in a long time, yes. She nodded, satisfied, as though she had been waiting to confirm something she already suspected. On her 3rd Saturday visit, I let her stay for dinner. I made lamb stew, the recipe my own mother had given me. The one I had not made in years because there was never quite the right occasion in Daniel's house. Today, Lily still comes every Saturday. She is almost 8 now. She has started writing her own stories, small ones, in a notebook I gave her, with her name on the cover. She reads them to me over eggs with crispy edges. Daniel and I speak every week. It is not what we were, but it is something real, the kind of real that can only grow from honesty. Priya and I exchanged one message, brief, polite. Perhaps one day there will be more. Perhaps not. I have learned that some doors, when you walk through them, do not close fully behind you. They simply change shape.
Here is what I want to leave with you today. Silence is not the same as peace. I spent 2 years calling my silence patience. It was not patience. It was fear. Fear of being too much. Fear of asking for too little. Fear of taking up the wrong kind of space. The bravest thing I ever did was not pack that suitcase. The bravest thing I ever did was answer honestly when a 7-year-old asked me a simple question. Because honesty, real honesty, the kind that costs something, is where everything begins. If you are living small somewhere today, if you have been making yourself quiet and easy and convenient for people who have stopped noticing, I want you to hear this. You are not furniture. You have never been furniture, and it is never, never too late to remember that. Thank you for sitting with me today, and with Lily. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Grandma Diaries. I will be here with more to tell you.